Hi, welcome back to Ampersand Unique Gifts and Home Decor. Today we have a video with some upcycled gold frames. So this is just to give you some ideas whether you have some old frames laying around your house or whether you like to go thrifting and you find some that you think would make a good upcycle. So using just some other items besides your family pictures, watch and see how we give these frames a new life.
Our first frame is just pretty much a standard. I think everyone has seen these, a bifolding gold frame. I think it's pressed metal. It has a little bit of a texture around it, but it's just a thin, simple frame. So we wanted to do something cool with that to bring it new life. And I'm just using, you can see I'm just using cardstock. I'm going to trace around the background here just so that is the cardboard backing of the frame, just to make sure that it's the perfect size. And you can use anything for this. If you have, you know, a poster board, a thin piece of cardboard, anything will do. But this is what I had handy, so here we go. But white is not a very good color for what I'm going to do in this one. So I am using Debi's Design Diary DIY brand paint in partnership with Jami Vintage in the color Crockery. This is my new color. I have just been using this on everything, and it is the perfect color that blends with this year's IOD transfers. So we're going to give both sides on both pieces of paper, because we have two frames hooked together, and we're going to give 2 layers of the Crockery paint on both sides of that paper. And while that's drying, I decided, since there were kind of some rusty looking spots on this metal frame, that I am going to give it a light coat. I'm not trying to get full coverage, and then I'm going to take a baby wipe and wipe it back so there's still a little bit of it, but you can see that texture come through. So I picked out 2 pictures, again from the IOD Fairy Merry Christmas, and you see how pretty that looks on that background? Anyway, if you've never used a transfer, they are so easy and they allow wonderful pictures for people like me that can't necessarily paint those beautiful designs but still want to incorporate them in our artwork. So you stick it down and you can tape it, or this kind of, you know, because it's a whole sheet, stuck really well. And you just use the plastic stick that comes with it, and you're going to rub it in and kind of lightly pull up that sheet, that plastic coating over it, until you have it all pushed down. And then I just use that same to burnish over the top of it and make sure it's stuck everywhere. And here we're using the Debi's Design Diary Gilding Wax Golden Rule, and we're just going to add some highlight back in. And yes, I know the frame was gold and then I painted it, but it just added a little touch. And then I'm going to also just, again, with my finger, just lightly add some little shine to the background of the picture there and on that paper. And it just gave it the right touch. Cleaned both pieces of glass really well, and then I put everything back together, got my glass in there, and then my picture, and I used the cardboard that was in it. It had some corrugated cardboard that makes sure that everything stays good and flat. The paper did the neatest thing when it was painted. It almost felt like a leather texture. I loved the way that paint, it has a built-in sealer. So you do not have to, even though the other paints are kind of like a chalk paint, you don't have to seal that. This one has a sealer. And then I did flip the backing backwards because it was a little bit torn and rough looking on the black side that was there. So I did put it in backwards with the plain cardboard. All right, let's move into our second frame. This one, I did not do it on camera, but this one I did a whitewash over it. It was just gold, and I wanted to kind of tone that down, so I did a whitewash. And here I'm still using that cardstock, but this frame, the back doesn't come off and the glass doesn't come out. So in order to get that good shape and have it perfect, I just laid that paper in there and then cut it out. So now we're going to use the IOD Christmas Transfer Candy Cottage, and we have this beautiful little Christmas tree that is made of flowers, and we're going to put that down. And again, the same way we did the last, you're just going to stick it on there, use your plastic stick, and when you're finished, take that plastic sheeting and just rub it down to make sure you didn't miss any spots. And then I put that in there. Simple, easy peasy. Now we're on to number 3, moving right along, and these are gold frame filigree and they are absolutely beautiful. I have a mirror that sits flat that's made out of the same texture, but we're going to turn these frames, take the glass out, get it good and clean. But I'm going to use that same whitewash idea, and again using the Debi's Design Diary DIY paint with Jami Vintage, and this is the white linen. And I'm not trying to get a full coverage here, but I do go ahead and paint, and then I just take that wet wipe and pull it back so that you can see more of that color coming through. It is kind of more of a silvery gold. It's not necessarily gold. And then I'm going to use on here same cardboard backing, trace it, same cardstock, but this time I'm going to use the Jami Vintage rice paper. So you can see these birds are the perfect holiday scene. They have kind of the light script lettering, like a letter written behind it, and I'm going to put one in each frame and make a matching set. But I felt like it just needed a little bit more than that plain white. And so first of all, I am going to take the edge, I'm just using water here. That's just a small paintbrush with nothing but water, and I'm going to take kind of a squiggly line around the outside edge. If you've never decoupaged before, this rice paper is a great way to start because it is a little bit thicker, but it still is a wonderful decoupage paper. So to add some additional picture background on that white paper, I am using the Kindest Regards stamp from IOD, and I'm using that same Crockery color, and you can see I painted it right on the stamp, and then I just stick my paper down and lightly press it to get that same similar script that is on the rice paper. And so now I'm using the Sweet Pickins top coat as a decoupage medium, and because I didn't want to smear my paint on the paper, I put my decoupage medium, I actually painted it on the back of my rice paper, and then I'm just going to stick that right in the middle and use a piece of saran wrap, just cling wrap, whatever, and it keeps it so that when you're pushing with your hands, you don't tear it, and you can still tear it even with that, but it definitely cuts down on the likelihood. So I'm going to go ahead and put everything back together, and I'm using the same things that came in it, which this green paper, actually I put it back in because I thought it was so cool. It has 1977 as the copyright date, so I went ahead and kept that in there just for fun for anybody that might look at this down the road. And then I'm going to stick that, making sure that I don't put it upside down, which I was about to, and then I'm just going to stick that cardboard back in there. But I love the way these turned out, so just wanted to give you some ideas if you have some old frames laying around your house.
Have you ever been in love? Have you ever lost your head? Have you felt like you were out of breath when you saw her in that dress? When your heart is beating fast and you're sweating and you can't stop looking at her smile, then you've been in love. That's how you know you've been in love. Something about the way she laughs and the way she always dances.